Students, we are going to study the supplementary reader, An Alien Hand, Chapter 3, The Desert. Children, you all know about a desert. A desert is a very hot area where life is very horrible because of the strong, hot climatic conditions. And animals and plants living in particular areas seen in deserts which are known as oases. So let's know more about deserts in this chapter. All of you please take your textbook, keep your fingers over the line where I am reading and listen carefully. A desert is generally without water and vegetation. A green patch with fresh water and green trees in the middle of a vast desert is a beautiful sight. A desert may be too hot or too cold. Those of us who live in regions covered with forests and surrounded by hills may find it difficult to imagine what a desert is really like. It's a very interesting contrast. One who is living in a forest area, that means in a mountainous region, comparing with the life of a desert. The popular belief is that it is an endless stretch of sand where no rain falls and therefore no vegetation grows. So whenever we think about a desert, we have an idea that there is only an endless stretch of sand and there is no rain, no vegetation. It's dry, hot, waterless and without shelter. Without shelter means no trees, so no animals can take rest under any shelter. So no shelter. But this is not entirely correct. But for those who have studied it, the desert can be a beautiful place. It is the home of a variety of people, animals and plants that have learned to live under very hot and dry conditions. Whenever we go through the desert or whenever we study about the features of a desert, we will be able to see, just like any other climatic area, this desert is also a very beautiful place where a variety of people, animals and plants grown under very hot and dry conditions. True, the ground is not always hidden by a cover of grass, plants and trees as it is in other climates. But whenever it rains, which is rare, desert flowers bloom and the sight can be as rewarding as that of any tropical region. So that means you will be seeing a cover of grass over the sand in our area. So in deserts we will not be able to see such a cover of grass. But whenever it rains, we will be able to see the desert plants blooms. Blooms means producing flowers. A desert is not always a flat, unchanging wasteland of dry sand. It may have mountains and hills. So we don't think that desert is a unchanging wasteland. It is not only a flat land, but it is having mountains and hills. It may have an oasis, big or small. What is an oasis? Oasis is a greenery which is seen in a desert. It could be containing a lot of vegetation, plants, animals and water. Such an area can be said to be oasis. This oasis can be either big or small. An oasis is like a green island in the middle of a desert where a spring or a well gives plants and trees a better chance to grow. So just like islands in an ocean, the oasis is just like an island in the desert. Where spring you know, springs, that means the water sources which is coming underground and gives water through the broken rocks can be said to be springs. So springs and other water sources will be providing water for the growth of plants and animals. A desert may be hot like the Thar or cold like Ladakh. So Thar desert, you know, it's very hot, and a desert in the Ladakh is very cold. But generally speaking, if a place has little or no water and vegetation, people usually call it a desert. So, what is a desert? A desert is an area where generally no water or no vegetation or no animals can be said to be a desert. So, which can be either hot or cold. Some deserts are almost totally without water. In such places, strong winds blow, raising heaps of sand and depositing them as mounds. Mounds means great heaps. Great heaps, big heaps can be said to be mounds. So, in some deserts, just like oasis is not seen and there is no water. So, in such areas of the deserts, strong winds blow, carrying sand along with them, and these sands will be depositing just like mounds. Mounds means big heaps, and these are called sand dunes. So what is a sand dune? A sand dune is a strong wind which carries heaps of sand and deposits in other areas where it deposits mounds. These are called sand dunes that shift and move endlessly across the desert. Few plants can survive on such dry, shifting sands. Few means very little plants will be able to see in such kind of desert and where sand dunes are occurring always.